Hello. We are going to give you guys a little minute to file in. Um, gosh, I feel, there we go. Ah, all right. We're going to talk a little bit today about business. Okay. We're talking about business, and I'm excited about it because there are some things that I'm doing with technology in my entrepreneurship career. And I want to talk to you guys about some of the things I'm doing because there are some really serious things going on in our social climate. So I want to talk about those things and introduce you guys to some of the projects. So, this podcast that I started for business purposes is called The Spirit of Business. And this is actually a philosophy that I've developed in my studies of esoterics, metaphysics, occultism, um, that type of law, okay, universal natural law, that type of study, that type of curriculum. So I want to share to you guys some of the things that I've observed in my life experience from my perspective about what our culture is doing as a result of what businesses are doing. And I also want to talk about what my objective is, okay? As a person who is um pursuing social entrepreneurship for the purpose of shaping culture and shaping an economic landscape, I want to talk about how those things are evolving in our communities already. Okay. Now, I know that there's a lot I can do with my business resources and my financial resources to be able to contribute to this climate, but our culture is struggling right now to see the bigger picture. And I really want to talk about that because on a corporate level, which is what we're dealing with, okay, we're dealing with artificial entities that we call corporations. And I want you to know that an artificial entity is subject to the same universal natural laws that natural entities are subject to. Okay. This is something that, oh Lord, this is annoying me right now. Hold on for just a second. Let me close this closet door. I should have been closed this door. I got so much stuff. Ugh. Okay. So, what we're going to talk about, like I said, is making sure that we understand what the business climate is doing to our culture, to shape our culture, and how we should be perceiving that. Because the perception of our corporate climate in such a social, political world, for us to just look at it like it's just business without giving the proper perception of it. It's going to cause us issues as we're pushing the envelope, okay? Excuse me. As we're moving forward in our development of a culture, what we have to do and what it would behoove us to do is to understand that businesses are transmuting energy and conveying energy just like we are, okay? There are certain parallels that exist between the artificial entity and the natural entity. Okay. So when we talk about shaping the culture through business, what does that actually mean? So in the teaching of the spirit of business, what we talk about is the morality that goes into what it means to transmute energy, like what are the moral requirements of being an entity on this plane or this planet, because we have right now a serious issue with conceptualizing our positions here and our power. Okay, we have corporations right now that are giving us transmuted energy that we cannot use or don't want to use. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that we're in control of whether we use it or not, whether we consume it or not. We are consumers. Okay. But we're also contributors to the energetic landscape that we are participating in. So, what I want for my community to know and for all communities to understand is that we cannot be subject to something that we do not participate in. It's just like walking away from an argument. Okay. In our social climate, right now, we are engaging in an argument that we cannot win. We're trying to add morality in a situation where there is none and will not be any morality in these situations. We're talking about killings. We're talking about abuse of power. We're talking about crimes against humanity. We're talking about all these different crimes against the environment, all kinds of things that we're dealing with that will not be remedied unless we walk away from the argument. Okay, we're out here fighting, protesting, looting, getting angry, fighting, shooting each other, fighting each other. Now we're mad at one another because of the energy somebody else transmuted into our environment. The human family did not know this type of war, this type of famine, this type of disease. We did not know these plagues more than 2,000 years ago when the introduction of the Caucasus man came into our reality. Okay. And so what we're doing is we're engaging in a conversation with a baby. We're engaging in an argument with a baby. And we're expecting for this baby to understand what we're saying to them about what it means to exist on this planet, what it means to cooperate in the evolution of man. They don't understand that. And so for us to be in a place where we want to argue the point, okay, elitists are the people who are, I should say, these are the people who have a vested interest in making sure that the trustees of the U.S. corporation continue their assault against humanity. They have vested interest. So it's just like when we say to them, tear down these systems of oppression, let me free. When we tell that, I would like economic equality, I would like political power. We want all these astronomical changes that we expect to see. But what I'm telling you is that if we were to do that, they would not be operating in the fiduciary best interest of the private trust that is the U.S. federal government. Okay. And I'm looking back and forth because I'm on Facebook. I'm trying not to neglect my YouTube live family. So I want us to get ourselves in this frame of mind where we understand we're talking about the connection between economy and politics. Okay. Do we have a separation of church and state? No, we don't. There is no separation between church and state. But what the state will want you to believe is that there is a separation between church and state. And they want to tell you that the state is governing over the church, when really that has no validity in what we're doing. So let me stay on what I want to talk about. I don't want to get too far off on a tangent because it's extremely important to, again, recognize that we're talking about entities. You are an entity. Every business that you create, everything that you create is a derivation of your entity, which makes it also an entity. When you give birth to something, that makes it an entity which is capable of energetic transfer. Everything that you create is capable of transferring your energy. Now, when we create businesses, because the business has a function, the business has a delegation of power coming from you. It's just like creating a trust when you create a business. The delegation of power comes from you as the grantor of the instructions of how this system should operate. It's just like when we were endowed with power, the power to make decisions, the power to transmute energy, the power to exist inside of this matrix of universal natural law. We were endowed with the power to transmute energy and be conveyors of currency, of energy, of thought. Okay. So now that we're birthing this power into something else, when you have a child, your child has the same ability to make decisions as you do. And when you gave birth, you endowed that child. You are the creator, okay? And this is what I want you to understand about being a God. You are the creator or the grantor or the settlor. Okay, I'm learning equity and trust law. So when we make these connections to metaphysics, and we look at what the entity does on this planet to transmute and convey energy or assets or property or currency, okay, the title of ownership to things gets conveyed through the act of endowment, okay? And so listen, we are in a special position to make sure that when we endow our businesses with a certain power and trust, okay, basically clothing this entity with the power to act a certain way, to do a certain thing that we deem necessary for it to do. If you have a business, when you write out the departmental functions, the about section, the mission, the vision of your business, when you're writing out these things, you're telling the business how you want it to receive energy, which comes from the consumer or the audience or the market. Okay. And you're telling the business how you want it to transmute that energy. It's the same way that you do with your children. Okay. When you have children, what you're saying to them is, I'm raising you a certain way. This is the energy I want you to transmute on this planet. I'm teaching you that you need to be a doctor, that you need to be a lawyer, that you must be educated, that you have to have a good soul, that you have to be kind. I'm giving you all of these stipulations, and I'm endowing you with my power and ability, the breath that I gave you, to make the decision to do that or not to do it. This is what business is, okay? These are endowments of power that we're giving to these businesses. It's the reason why businesses are responsible for shaping our culture. It's the reason why businesses are in such a powerful place. Corporations are in such a powerful place to execute change, okay? As the executor or as the administrator of trust, endowed power, endowments of power. What we must do is look at our businesses to transmute the energy that we're dealing with socially. Why is that? Because the business is what touches the social arena. It's what touches the social environment or the social climate that we're looking to change. One person is not going to touch everybody unless your name is Michael Jackson or Beyonce. Okay. But when we create businesses, they collectively are touching the masses because they serve our needs, the needs that we have. Okay, collective needs. This is the reason why businesses shape the culture. Okay, because when a business gets onto the market with a product or service, their job, okay, is to convince you psychologically through their branding and marketing that what they're selling to you is what you need or what you want. But for the most part, they want you to feel like you need it. And so they use these psychological tactics, okay, in order to plant that idea like a seed. And the goal of a good marketing campaign is not to tell you about, let's say, all of the pros and cons of a particular product or service. It's not to tell you about the pros and cons, okay, for you to be objective as a consumer, for you to come into the consuming agreement fully educated about what you're consuming. And this is why I developed the spirit of business concept, because it talks about the personification of the business entity as it interacts with its consumer. Okay, so let's personify the business in such a way that we're going to look at it like one of our friends. Okay. And this is how we're going to start shaping our perception of what businesses are and the position that they stand in for us to be able to shape our culture through these businesses. Let's say you had a friend, okay? And every time you came around your friend, they gave you a drink. Maybe it's your husband or your wife. They give you a drink, and the drink is delicious. Okay, you love it. You're just drinking it up. But this person is fully aware that this has pee in it. Let's just say there's urine in this drink. Okay, and you have no idea. But because that person is getting paid $100 to sell this product, or to, get people to drink the product, they don't care. They're not going to tell you that there's urine in it that could possibly make you sick, that could give you a disease or what have you. They're just going to give it to you for the money. And this is where the shaping of the culture comes into play. Okay. If we were a wise consumer, we would look at that business like we would look at that friend. Okay. And we would say, you know what? I'm about to whoop your ass. Because you knew that you gave me something that I would not have consumed had you given me the fullness of the truth about this particular product or service. So when we look at our business entities on the market, they are to be held to no less of a standard. In the spirit of business, what I teach is the deep personification of a business entity, because when you use this personage, in my studies, a term was used, and I love it. I continuously repeat it. And they called it metaphysic personage. Metaphysic personage is what businesses are. Okay. They have been, like I said, endowed with a certain ability that is no different than the natural entities that are human beings. So they have been personified or given a metaphysic personage in order to make them functional on this dimension in our matrix of understanding. The laws that we follow as natural beings on the natural earth, the law of gravity, the law of relativity, the law of balance or cause and effect, and all of this vibration and mentalism, everything, everything vibrates. Those laws are the same laws that these businesses are having to follow. And so once they start following that pattern, then they become applicable to all of mankind. Businesses are using occultism to make massive impact on humanity. If you didn't hear what I said, run it back. Okay? Businesses are currently, and since the Crusades actually, have been using occultism, knowledge of the occult, esotericism, to penetrate the mental capacity of people to consume. Okay? We are consuming things in a capacity that has been, I want to say, it's been the capacity that we've been consuming our products. It has been heavily influenced by these esoteric influences. And yes, Miss Romaine, the government is using this occultism. And I want to tell you that, as a part of this discussion, I want to talk about the government, because as a people, we have to put the personification on the government entities too, because government entities are also corporate business entities. And yes, the government follows the same universal natural laws, the same universal regulations. Universal regulators or laws are the things that are essentially our operating system on this planet. The businesses must follow the code of the operating system that we're on. They're no different than we are. The only thing about it is that they understand the science of the human mind. They understand the science of the subconscious mind, or they understand the science of the human chakra system. They understand what keeps us in alignment and what throws us out of alignment. They understand what will cause us to mentally die but physically stay alive. They understand the limits that they can push us to. For example, us being fed GMO products. These companies and corporations know that that is detrimental as far as the long-term effect is concerned. They realize that that is not something we should be consuming, but because they're being paid to feed you piss and you think it's delicious, they're not going to tell you that it's piss. They're just going to, hey, it's genetically modified. It's not going to hurt you. Why? Because I'm not going to drop dead right now from eating it? No, but it is going to hurt me. And if I knew the impact that this product or service had on my life, I would not consume it. Okay. But what's happening in the shaping of culture through our business and corporate market, what's happening is there is a turn of the tide that we are looking at. And when I teach, or when I'm developing these teaching methods about corporate alignment, what I'm saying is that these businesses are going to have to align, or else they're going to lose their empire. They're going to have to align to the order of this operating system that we're on. Because when you are constantly transmuting positive energy into negative energy, then it turns into something that comes back on you. And we all know that, right? We all know that what you give is what you get. What goes up must come down. It's the law of what? Correspondence. Cause and effect. This is what corporations, major corporations who are considered to be profiteers. There's a difference between being a capitalist and a profiteer. Okay? A capitalist is someone, in my personal definition, a capitalist is someone who knows how to capitalize on an opportunity. It's an entity that knows how to say, well, this is an opportunity that I can capitalize on. Somebody has a problem that I can solve. I can do that ethically. I can do that with justice and equity. I can do that without taking anything from anyone. But when you're considering the efforts of a profiteer, if you look that up, a profiteer is a person who is gaining capital or equity, okay, through unethical means of acquisition. The acquisition is unethical. When you are out here, let's say, making all the elephants or all the bees on the planet go extinct so that you can take you can extract the capital from their natural resources, their tusks or their bee honey or whatever, we're doing. They're taking without giving. Okay. They're taking something that the universe is not willing to give. And that's what a proper profiteer is. It's just like a pirate. You're just basically looting the planet. And so when we're considering the fact that businesses, real corporations are doing this today, that's the energy they're transmuting. And so by law, it has to come back to who? Them. And how is that happening? That's happening currently today to major corporations. We can see that in the falling of the government, because never forget that the government is a corporation. Never forget that. And I want you to hold it in your mind when you're watching the political landscape, when you see this race war. We can't even get the dead body off of the ground before they are in the streets killing another one. Why is that happening? It's not because of racism. It's because it is good for business. It's good for business. War and political unrest is a manufactured problem that we are paying politicians to solve. When I go outside my house, y'all, I don't walk out my house with a chip on my shoulder. There are people who do, but I can guarantee you that there will be less amount of people or smaller amount of people walking around angry if they did not have the media, okay, corporations. Always remember that this is business. If the media, which are corporate businesses for profit, if they were not spewing this hate imagery, this hate language, all of this hatred just being showered down on us, and they think we're going to go outside and be happy. They want us to go and loot. They want us to go and protest. They want us to belittle each other according to these fake ass political stances. How can you have a political stance when the political system itself doesn't fucking work? Excuse my French, because I was trying to keep it clean because this is my business podcast, but it doesn't work. How can you have a political stance? Huh? When it don't work. That's like saying, let me go wash my car when the car doesn't drive. What are you doing that for? What are you going to wash the car for when you're not going anywhere in that bitch? You're not going anywhere. Why would you wash the car? That's what to me, in my mind, that's what we sound like. We sound like somebody that's going to wash a car that ain't got no wheels on it. You ain't got no wheels on the car. Where you going with the thing? The political system is a car without wheels. It's not going anywhere. The shit is broke down. And we're still talking about our political stance. The whole political system is pretty much dismantled. In my eyes, it's dismantled. Why are we still arguing politics? Why are we still talking about going out and voting in every possible elective process? But if you don't go sit down and listen to what society is saying to you, listen to what the universe is speaking, listen to what the spirit is speaking to you. Listen, because when we are looking at the culture and what business has done to the culture, I want you to look at, let's say, for example, the money that's been made in business off of the music part of our culture, okay? The music part of our culture. People are getting paid top dollar, okay? Top dollar to give us these images of a lack of self-worth, demeaning ourselves, like Dr. Francis Cress Wesseling talked about, where we sing to our own demeanment, our own detriment. And we are looking for other people to respect us when we are allowing these things. If we were smart, if we understood the profits being made off of the influence coming from these entities, we would look at those entities from a personified perspective. Now we're talking about personification of these entities. If that perspective was to come into focus and we looked at the entire corporate music industry like a friend, would we allow the music industry to continue to poison our homes, poison our minds, poison the way we treat one another? Because music has everything to do with that. So if we are looking at the music industry as a whole, the corporations as a whole, like we would a friend that was giving us a drink with piss in it, we would be like, the music industry has to either evolve or die, because I'm not going to allow you to continue feeding me and my family piss. And you think I'm just going to sit here and drink it up like it's a refreshing glass of water? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is give ourselves the ability to set boundaries, because as we're growing up into our spiritual maturity and our spiritual emotional intelligence, we're understanding the value of a boundary. The value of a boundary in a business or in a business sense says you cannot feed me any old product. You cannot give me any old service. For example, the New Deal, okay, when we got the social systems, okay, when we got the social programs, my friend 100 Days of Summer was just talking about this on his live, and I shouted him out for what he's doing because I really appreciate him being okay with the fact that he is an outlier in the way he delivers his message and the actual message that he delivers. So the social programs that were given to us, we have been advocating for these things because they've been colored as beneficial because of the Democratic Party. The introduction of the Democratic Party to quote unquote Black people was probably one of the most genius branding exercises, okay? Branding and marketing for the business of the government, the corporate government. Their marketing program says to you that, oh, I'm going to help you. We're going to create these programs that help you get back on your feet because we discriminated against you for so long. We bombed you. We've torn down every financial institution or every vehicle that you've created for yourself to carry you into a place of economic independence or economic empowerment. We have dismantled every effort of your community to do for yourself because we don't want you to do for yourself. Okay. If we did for ourselves as a society, not just Black people, you guys, listen to me. Black people are not the only people that have to follow the law of the federal government. Everybody who comes into this country is being oppressed by the elitists that own the system, that own the corporate institution. Okay? When we see these things happening, and this is not about anarchy, okay? I want to say that to certain audiences. This is not about it's not about anarchy. This is not about race. It's not about some kind of socialism or what people be saying is communism and all these other labels. No, it's not about that. What it's about is the fact that there is a certain set of people, there is a certain small group of people who told the rest of society outside of their group, we are going to give ourselves a job. Okay. We're going to call you the public, conceptually, theoretically, because honestly, there is no such thing as the public. No such thing as the public. Think about that. If there is a public, what is it? Who is the public? If you have a public agency that is owned by private people, what is that? What is it? So these people decided they were going to tell the rest of the public, which is just everybody else besides them, okay, that, well, I don't want you to do for yourself because then I won't have a job. I want you to come to me for everything you need, okay? I want you to allow me to govern you because you need to be governed. You can't live your life by yourself. You can't keep yourself healthy. Let me do that. I'm going to give you the Food and Drug Administration. We'll be here for you, okay? I'm going to give you the pharmaceutical industry. We'll be here to keep you healthy. Don't worry about it. We got doctors. We have these schools. We're going to educate them and make them seem really smart and like they're working for your best interest. You know, we're going to give them all this specialized training and we're going to tell them exactly how we want them to treat you inside of this healthcare system. We're going to keep you healthy. Don't worry about it. You're not smart enough to know how to keep yourself healthy. So I'm going to step in and I will be that governor. Okay, I'm going to govern your healthcare. You know, I'm going to tell you what to do. Okay, no, you can't manage your household. So I'm going to give you welfare. Okay, you're not smart enough for me to teach you economic independence or for me to teach you financial literacy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide money to you. I'm going to give you the money. I'm going to give you the fish instead of teaching you how to fish, right? This is how the corporate entity is treating people because they need to have something to do. They need to have a job. So they say, no, I don't want you to do any of these things. I'm the government. I don't want you to protect yourself without me saying that you can do that. I don't want you to go voting or voicing any opinions unless I tell you that you can do that. I don't want you to get married unless you come and ask me first. I don't want you to be able to guardian your children unless I say that you can, because if you do anything that I say you can't do, you're going to have a problem with me. If you don't do what I say you need to do with your children, you're going to have a problem with me. Okay. Now, when we personify the entire entity of the government like it was a person, if somebody was to come to you right now saying those things, what would you say to them? Well, if you don't get out my face, if you don't leave me alone, what are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not responsible enough. So they give us welfare. They give us housing and all this benevolent giving going on. But you want to know why Mother Nature does not do that? First of all, Mother Nature is your provider. The government doesn't provide anything for you that you cannot provide for yourself, because guess where the government is getting its resources from? The government gets its resources from your mama. The government gets its resources from Mother Nature. You see my altar back there? Those are all my mothers. That's where I get my substance from. You hear me? My mothers. That's my mama. That's my grandmama. That's my great grandmama. Okay, that's my uncle right there that passed away. I'll shade to every last one of them. But the government gets its resources from nature. So why can't you? Somebody tell me the answer to that. Why do we wait for the federal government to extract resources from the planet itself and from the people of the planet so that the government can get it out the ground and then give it to us? Get it out the ground and then give it to us. Can we not just go directly to the ground and get it? All the natural resources that we are given, quote unquote, have already been provided. How do you think they getting it? They're not paying for it. They just charging us for it. And this is where we have to start perceiving the personification. If somebody came to you right now and told you, you come to me so that, let's just say, for example, I'm gonna build your website for $100. Okay. And I tell you that I'm gonna build your website for $100, right? And then I turn around and in your face, I go and tell this other person to come sit in my chair. I pay them $50 to design your website while you just gave me 100. I didn't do no work at all. I gave the work off to someone else. They did the work. You gave me the money. I gave them some money. And now everybody's happy. They gave you the website. You tell me why you couldn't go get the website from that person for $50 directly and leave me stuck on my ass trying to figure out how to make $50. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we have to do in a climate where the federal government is just that. The federal government is an unnecessary intermediary. Unnecessary intermediary. We are not required to use an intermediary. We are not required on this planet to go through anyone. And I'm going to tell you a concept of religion that gets us in this mode of thinking subconsciously, where we don't even perceive a problem. We don't even perceive a problem with this. And I'm going to tell you why. Religion. Catholicism tells you that you need to go to a priest for your blessing, your salvation. Okay. You need to confess to somebody that you did wrong, that you were less than perfect, that you were this or that, right? Okay. You go through the priest. After you've given something to him, he gives you something back. He goes to the source, comes back down on you with blessings after you done gave him a confession. Now, you look at Christianity. You have to confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Christ and Lord for you to get the salvation from the big G, God. You understand how these things don't make any fucking sense? You have to go through something to get something. That's not the model that we're built on. That shit was made up. Do you hear me? The only thing you have to go through to get something is your mother's womb. Marinate on it. That's your only requirement. You go through your mother's womb, and after that, you've received. You've received. That's it. You go through your mother's womb. That is a portal to your physical existence, to your endowment. That is the trust agreement that has been created for you to be endowed to operate in this planet, on this plane, in this dimension, without any inhibitors, without any blockages, without any boundaries. Do you understand? The only boundary that you have is your physical body. The only boundary you have is your physical body. And that is the only reason why we have governing laws, because we have to protect our physical bodies and the experience that we're having as a result of being inside of this body. The Bible tells you, scriptures tell you, common sense will tell you, we are in this world, we're not of it. But let me go back because I'm not done talking about businesses. If we were to look at the federal government for being what it is, like I said, the reason why we are thinking that we have to go through this entity to receive the blessings of nature, which we are designed to live off of without an intermediary, okay? We're thinking that because religion has programmed us into this go through something to get something type of situation. It's like when we hear that phrase where we say Black women deserve love that doesn't require suffering first. Well, guess what? You deserve natural provisions that don't require asking first. Do you hear me? Asking is not a part of the equation. You going to, asking a third dimensional being or a third dimensional entity, that's not a part of the equation. If you're asking, the only thing you should be asking is your spirit, man. You should be asking me, myself, and I. There's a 3-part entity that governs you inside of yourself. There is no outside governance. You have your inner consciousness, okay? You have your present man, and you have your past, the past version of yourself or the lower self. The only conferring that you need to do is with all 3 of those. Once all 3 of those have become in synced alignment with one another, that is your permission to do, to act, to be, okay, to move forward, to make moves, to manifest, to convey, okay? You don't ask for something that you're already given. That's like your mama giving you a bike and telling you, go play. And every single day you're going to ask your mama, can you have the bike? And you're like, baby, I gave you the damn bike. I gave it to you already. It's yours. Stop asking me for it. Go get the bike. If we outside, you could clearly see that we getting ready to go do something. We about to go somewhere. Why would you ask me? Clearly, this is what I gave it to you for. Mother Nature gave us the world, the whole earth. The Bible talks about the fact that we inherited the earth. Again, another indication of a trust. If you don't know what a trust is, you need to figure it out. Another indication of a trust. The Bible says we inherit the earth, all of the herbs, all of the animals and the fowl of the earth. Listen, we've inherited it. These people that call themselves governors, they have stolen our inheritance. And I don't think y'all understand what that means. We're asking for something that is already ours. We already have the vested interest in it. The equity is in the transaction of us being born here. The fact that in trust law, we learn something about what's called the advancement of status, okay? Or the advancement of life. Okay, when a person leaves something under trust, it basically says that I'm holding on to these assets, or I'm transferring these assets to one person so that other people can benefit from it at a later time. Okay. So when we're born onto this planet, the planet gave us this for the advancement of our lives. Okay. The earth is for the advancement of life on earth. Okay. So when we're born here, that is the agreement. When we're born here on this planet, the agreement metaphysically is that we are here to advance life on the planet. Now, the reason why you see a breaking down of our social culture and the reason why businesses need to be involved in shaping culture is because businesses have been involved in breaking it down in the first place, becoming these unnatural intermediaries, the entities that have been created by these corporate bodies. They are producing unnatural products and unnatural ways of evolution. Unnatural evolution is what I'm going to say. They've created an unnatural evolution. And so what we have to do is bring back nature into the dealings that we've allowed to happen between ourselves. Again, boundaries. In the metaphysic world, if you have no boundaries, you have no guarantee of life. We're literally taking life from the planet by living in these artificial ways. I mean, think about all the different ways artificial things break down the fabric of reality of life. Artificial things. Think about what it does. Think about what it does, you guys, when we are living on a natural planet, but every thing we create somehow rearranges what is natural into something that is artificial. Why would we take the genetic composition of a fruit and turn it into something else or make it fake? Why? Why? Is there a problem with a seed? You can't just get some more apples out of the seed. Why do you have to genetically modify food, which comes naturally out of the ground? You can't convince me that the planet forgot how to grow seeds. But because of profiteering, we're not concerned with the morality of the situation. We're not concerned with the advancement of humanity or the advancement or shaping of our cultural desires to stay alive. Okay? Because what we're doing is we're killing the planet. I wonder if the government leaders are concerned at all about their own children. Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, like I said, I'm studying trust law very heavily, and I have been for some years now. I didn't know that I was studying trust law, but I've been studying law for some years now, you guys. And what I want you to understand is that the whole point of this is to leave something for future generations to use. Now, I would love to ask whoever is sitting in the hot seat of the government, pushing all these stupid buttons. Okay. God, I wanted to say a cuss word just now. I'm trying so hard to keep my mouth together. I want to cuss. I want to cuss so bad. But I would love to ask the question, what do you think is going to happen to the beneficiaries of your own trust? These elite people are putting millions and billions of dollars of assets away for their lineage, for their, downline, I'm going to call it, because it's a business. And, these are your successors. That's what you would call it in trust terms. You would call it a successor trustee. And so what I don't understand is that if you know you got successors coming down the line for generations to come, why the hell are you trying to kill the planet? How does that make sense? That means you're literally wasting your time. You're literally wasting your time. You're wasting all that energy for what? Your own worldly pleasures. The only thing that is happening, I believe, is that these people have put so much energy into enjoying their own life experience that they don't even realize that they're invalidating their life value by basically just wanting to have a physical experience right now. It's kind of like in the Matrix where the guy was like, yeah, I know this steak is not real, but goddamn, I love how it tastes. Exactly, Miss Romaine. They trying to leave here and go to other planets so they can devour and consume and ruin everything there. And it's just like, you can't leave another planet to your kids on this planet. If you go and watch Jupiter Ascending, you'll see that there is a game being played on a galactic level, okay, intergalactic, federations and different, planets. And honestly, I'm going to tell y'all, we have other planets near us right now that came into our aerial space of Earth to help us. All of these elevated, all of these different downloads that we're getting, the ups and downs that we're having of the tides of our energetic frequencies, all that stuff is coming from planetary alignment. And when I tell you that these planets have aligned, you remember that event where all these planets are lined up in a row? That's because they were shooting them damn energetic beams at our asses. And y'all could think I'm crazy if you want, but planetary alignment has a lot to do with the energetic composition, the energetic experience of human beings. It's just like if you were to go and get a tuning fork and vibrate it over a bunch of sand, or if you was to do the vibrate, you see when people vibrate the sand, that's what happens when the planets come around. They're like tuning forks. They're like tuning forks. They come and they vibrate in such a way that we align with the vibration that they're on. Okay. And that's why humanity has been going through the changes that we've been experiencing, because they're tuning us to their frequency and they're giving us information on the frequency that they are on, like a radio wave. When they tune us, then they can communicate with us. And that's how we are getting the information that we're getting right now to say, hey, whoa, what's going on with society? I'm waking up right now. I'm starting to see some shit that I don't like. I don't like this. And now humanity is having to figure out, what are we doing? So in the spirit of business, what I teach in my philosophy is we have to start looking at our corporate entities like we look at our friends. As we're elevating, how we cutting people off? How we saying, oh, no, that's not good for me anymore. I don't like that energy. Back up off of me. Okay. We have to do the same thing with our corporate entities. We have to do the same thing with brands that we know and love and trust. When we go access the internet, when we go and access databases of information that give us transparent knowledge about what we're consuming, if these businesses are feeding us piss in our drinks, basically meaning if you are executing a marketing and branding campaign that sells something toxic as a solution to a problem, you are the problem. And this is where we have to start aligning our ability, okay, to actually vibrate on a certain level where we have created social boundaries. We cannot keep letting ourselves be violated socially, because what's happening is the social implications of these brands infiltrating our mental space. You know how we say we got stuff living in our head rent free? Right now, we have corporate brands living rent free right back here in the subconscious mind. Okay. The subconscious mind is where all of this symbolism lives. And I want you to understand that a brand is nothing but, and this is the reason why I say these brands and these corporate entities, they're studying occultism. They're studying esoteric knowledge because they understand that the symbols of the brand, of the message being associated with the symbol, all that stuff is penetrating in your subconscious mind. And what is the function of the subconscious mind? Okay. And this is what businesses know about the culture, about human beings. We have a weak spot where we can be infiltrated because the subconscious mind does not care what is true or false. The subconscious mind does not care what is real or fake, because the subconscious mind creates the truth. It creates what is real and what is fake. So when the subconscious mind begins to take those ideas that are attached to those symbols, it's like spoon feeding a baby. That baby has no idea what's on that spoon. The only thing they know is that you are trying to feed it. That's it. And when you spoon feeding your subconscious mind by taking in these symbols, taking in these social cues, taking in these messages that are associated with these symbols, you are spoon feeding the baby that is your mind, your subconscious mind. And that baby has no idea that you have not made a sufficient decision or a well-informed decision or a mature decision to feed it something that it can use to create a better reality, to create a better sense of health, to create a better attitude, to exist on a higher frequency. If you're giving your brain, I'm going to put it to you on a very simple level, okay? When we're going out here, I'm going to give you a couple of different examples. I'm going to give you myself as an example, okay? I don't know if I can give myself as an example, but maybe I'll use social, trends as an example. So with our subconscious mind, let's say, for example, the government, okay? We look at the government like it is an authority, right? Because when we see the eagle, okay, we see the eagle. That's the US's brand, okay? That's the US's logo. The US corporation uses the eagle as their logo. The same way the McDonald's uses the M, okay? Reebok, or no, what is it? Nike, they use the check mark. The different stuff, okay? When this stuff happens, okay, we see these things, the message gets conveyed to us, whatever the brand message is, okay? And so when I say the government gives you this eagle, we see it, okay? And the government has branded itself as a public service, okay? It's branded as a public service. So when, let's say, for example, the government starts to regulate stuff. I'm trying to find something with government labels on it. So let's just say this was a GMO label on this honey. I got honey. What if this was a GMO label? Okay, so when we see this, we look at that non-GMO label, and because we saw that there, we have no question whatsoever about whether or not this is a GMO product. We ask no questions or inquire any further why, about whether or not this was actually manufactured without GMO products. Why don't we ask any questions? It's because the brand of the government says, when I put my stamp on something, you better believe that it went through all these rigorous testings and all this other stuff. Never mind the fact that I have consistently shown you that I lie about things, that I am conniving, that I am deceiving, that I don't care about your health. I could have literally just put this on here, not knowing at all what's inside of this thing, but I just put it on there because I know if I do that, it's going to make you buy it. I'm going to get the money and I'm going to take off without a care in the world of whether or not you got sick or whether or not whether the GMOs might have affected your life in any way. I don't care. But because we trust the brand of the government, we're going to get the shots. We're going to buy the label stickers. We're going to trust them when it's time for our kids. We have problems with each other. We go to their courts. Whatever is happening, we feel like we have to go and use this authoritative figure who's looking out for us. And we trust it, right, Miss Romaine? We trust it. There's just a trust there, even though there is no demonstration of trustworthiness. And why? It's because of symbolic branding. It's a psychological tool that is used to connect with your subconscious mind, completely circumventing your ability to rationalize and reason and question and think critically. Okay? It's something that happens because the business is making money off of you accepting whatever brand it pushes to you. And now the government it goes through so many hoops. The government goes through so many different hoops to get you to continue to trust. They have PR people, they have marketing executives, they have branding executives, they have all these different representatives that come and get all these experts that come and tell you about all their studies, and they want to convince you that they've done all of everything that needs to, just like a business. Like it's like right now I'm looking at this company that does business plans, professional business plans, okay? And their pitch is basically like, we've done all the hard work for you. You don't have to do anything. Just come to us, tell us what your ideas are. We'll put it into this professional document. You don't have to go through anything. And that's exactly how the government gets us to continue trusting them, because they're telling us, according to their branding message, that they've taken the guesswork out of it all. Okay? I've taken the guesswork out of this. You don't have to think of it anymore. I got you. Don't worry about it. You said you're not healthy? Take these pills. Go and get this shot. Listen to these doctors. And they're going through all these things. They got these universities set up where they're specifically training these people how to defraud you out of your health, out of your real health and wellness. Because if they were seriously here to cure you, they would give you holistic health. They would give you holistic cures to the diseases and ailments of your body. They know that the medicine they're manufacturing artificially is coming from no other place than the natural earth that birthed all of us and heals every last one of us whenever we allow that healing naturally to take place. So I'm not going to belabor the issue and continue to say what I'm saying in different ways, but I will say that I want our society, leaders of all colors, of all races, classes, and creeds, I want us to understand this is not about race. This is about economic power. This is about mental power, mental training. Okay? This is about mental fortitude. We cannot look at the same thing from the same perspective, thinking we're going to get a different reality. You know where that comes from. It's insanity. You cannot repeat the same action expecting a different result. So what are we going to change about how we're looking at this? How are we perceiving this situation to a point where we can say, this is not what I thought it was. And so because it's not what I thought it was, I need to change how I'm dealing with it. Voting has not given me the economic power that I want to have. What has been pointing me in the direction of economic power? Business. Okay. Me getting on platforms and speaking my mind has not given me any influential power in the social arena. But what does give me social impact and social influence? Business. When I have a business, it's when I can take the resources and convey them from the planet over to myself, over to others, okay? In a way that it is not threatening to the social and moral fabric of our society. You understand? How is this kind of stuff coming together so that we're living in harmony with the planet? You understand? Our ancestors lived in harmony with the planet. And guess what? They were not threatening life on Earth. And they still had abundance. This is what I want to understand about profiteers. What is it about making money off of death that excites you? What is it about making money off of lies and deceit and hurting people that excites you? What do you think you're gaining from that? Our ancestors had abundance and they lived in perfect harmony with the planet. That's the reason why they had abundance. Have y'all ever seen pictures of Mansa Musa ass sitting up on that damn throne, dripped in gold? I'm talking about gold so big the man looked like he had to sit back in the chair like this to hold all the gold everywhere. Nature is not here to take anything from us. Nature gives, but all she asks is that you don't violate her goddamn rules. Don't violate her. Don't violate. When I watched Moana, okay, oh, I talked about this once before. How there was this entity that represented the earth. She was a dual. She had duality. Okay, she was a feminine energy because she was the abundance of the planet. She had been for centuries or for ages ancient, providing the abundance of all the land and the islands around her. They had fish in the waters, they had vegetation and fruit on the land. People were thriving. This is what the story goes in the movie Moana. So when they found out that famine was coming to their island, they knew it was because somebody had offended Tefiti. This goddamn what's his name? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, shoot. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. What is his name in that movie Moana? I can't think of it, but anyway, this guy in the movie, he was a demigod. He took a precious gemstone from sacred grounds, and it caused the heart. They called it the heart of Tefiti. He took her heart by taking something she was not willing to give. Okay, this stone, this precious gemstone, was the reason why she was able, okay, to give abundance to the islands. The stone was the reason why she was happy. This was her precious gemstone. It had the little swirls of the Fibonacci sequence, and he took it from her. He took it from her. She wasn't willing to give that. All the things that she had given. She, like I said, the seas were overflowing with fish. The land was abundant. The people were thriving. This was because of her. Okay. And when he took that from her, she became angry and she turned into Taka. Now, Taka was her alter ego when after this demigod had taken away her precious gemstone, her heart, she became infuriated, and famine started to plague every island around her because they had taken something from this feminine energy that she was not willing to give. And I'm telling you, when the story goes that the ocean, okay, the different powers of the world, you have fire, or the different elements, you have the fire, the air, the water, and the soil, or the earth. Okay, so the water had employed itself to go and find help. It went and it chose Moana to take to the seas because she came from an ancient people who were known for their navigation abilities, and she needed to get on the waters to navigate over to find this demigod. Damn, I still can't think of his name. She had to find him and take him to restore to restore this gemstone to her so that she could restore life to the rest of the islands around her. So when Moana got this stone and she went to go and deliver this heart, she found this angry beast. She found death. She found anger. She found rage and fire. Taka was putting these big ass fireballs and just throwing them. Like, she did not have her heart. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this is what humanity is doing to the earth. Mother Earth, we have stolen her heart because we are taking so much from her that she's not willing to give. Every time we genetically modify something, we are taking the heart from our mother. Every time we decide that we want to take a pharmaceutical pill instead of going and finding the herbs of our mother nature to heal ourselves, we're taking her heart. Do you understand me? Every time we drive these cars with this emissions and things like that, it's the culture of us that is causing, this unrest in our environment. It's our culture of taking, not receiving, okay? Taking is different from receiving. You receive something that somebody gives to you. She's not giving us this artificial existence. She is nature. She's telling us, be natural. Wait a minute, what are you doing? Be natural. We're taking the natural elements that she's given us and we're rearranging and altering them and turning them into something that we think they should be better. No. What do you do if you did that to a woman? You take her heart from her. When Moana was able to restore the heart to Taka, she had to give the heart back to this angry, raging beast. And I'm going to tell you, the beast was trying to kill Moana. The beast was trying to kill Moana and the demigod that stole the heart. She was trying to kill them both. But when Moana recognized that she was actually talking to Mother Nature, she was not talking to a beast. When Moana realized that, this heart had started to throb. It started to beat. You could see the gemstone glowing, and it started to come back alive when Moana had introduced it. So when she came, she sang a song to this beast, and she told her, listen, I know this is not who you are. We took something from you that we had no right to take, and that's the reason why you're so upset and you're attacking us. Because we've upset you. We've upset your natural order. We have upset what you came here to give us. Instead, we took something from you. Instead of us just receiving what you came here to give, abundant life. You understand? We want to take something that we feel is more abundant than what you had to give. You understand what I'm saying? That is offensive. I'm disgusted. Personally, I'm disgusted because I wouldn't let no person do that to me. You can't take nothing from me that I'm not giving to you without me checking you about it. Do you understand? And this is what the Mother Nature is doing to us right now. The reason why we're at this turning point, the reason why we're becoming polarized is because Mother Nature is saying, listen, I know which one of y'all are taking from me. I know who is doing this. I know who is the perpetrator. So what I'm going to do is I'm about to planetary alignment, baby. I'm about to tune all of y'all so I can polarize you. You're going to align. Either you're going to align or you're going to die. And this is the reason why I have a message that I'm giving to our corporate leaders. If you're not going to align with the direction that Mother Nature is taking every entity on the planet, I don't care if you're artificial or not. If you're not going to align, you are going to die. All of your wells of resources will dry up. Why? Because Mother Nature has boundaries. She's not going to keep giving to you if you're insisting on taking from her. Why would she do that? And that's the reason why I'm saying the whole point of perception of these business entities, the whole reason for my message of how we should be perceiving these entities is about personification, because that is common sense. You cannot take something from someone and then expect for them to continue giving to you. You have to align or die. Okay? Exactly. Get into formation. That's right. That's right. We have to get into formation, because if we don't, when they say the earth is flat, okay, it might as well be, because if she starts vibrating on your ass and you too close to the edge, you're going to fall off. That is your death. If you refuse to align with where she's taking us, I don't care how rich you are, she's snatching all of that. She's snatching all of that. You want to know why? Because she lives in every last one of us. When she communicates to us that she has a boundary that she's not willing to cross, or she's communicating to us that she has a boundary she's not willing to allow us to cross. That's like your mama telling you, hey, listen, you're going to follow my rules or you're going to get the hell out of my house. Mother Nature is a sister, and y'all better understand that about her too. Because right now she's sitting around somewhere like, oh, hell no. Somewhere Mother Nature is sitting around tapping her foot. She ready to go off, because I'm going to tell you, we're taking something that she is not giving. We are taking from her. And I'm telling you, she getting pissed. She waking up out of her nap that she was taking because she knew that she set us straight. Okay. She got all this vegetation. She got all these natural elements that we can use for healing. She got all of these things on the planet that make us happy. We are fully endowed with intelligence. We have all of it. We are creators to the nth degree. She went to sleep thinking she could take a nap because she set us straight. Now we down here acting a damn fool. Now she got to wake up out of her nap to come and get us back into order. That don't make no sense. First of all, she's tired. It's the reason why she put us in a position to do for ourselves. You can't fool her. She know what's going on inside of her house. We're living in her house. She know what's going on. So when we start these businesses and we start altering and manufacturing and doing all of these things that have nothing to do with her instructions, you think your business is going to last? I don't care if you're a billionaire. That's not going nowhere for you. You're not getting anywhere with it. Because once consciousness becomes aware of your profiteering, especially as a useless intermediary, you're not going anywhere with it. You're useless. Once people are starting to wake up and realize that Mother Nature is in a place where she's going to do for the people that's going to ride for her. You know what I'm saying? She's going to do for us who are taking on to this model and not violating her boundaries. And she's going to give to those people the abundance that was once enjoyed by the people who were taking from her. And that's what you call a pendulum swing. Okay. That's what you call a turning of the tides. That's what you call, again, Miss Romaine, as above, so below, correspondence. You're going to see the cause and effect relationship of what happens when you violate your mother. And I don't care how artificial you may be in her house. That's the same way, like when you get the little neighborhood kids to come around and they come in your house and they think they about to tear your house up, and you tell them, listen, I don't care if you my child or not. When you in my house, okay, when you're on this planet, this is how you're going to act. Now, for 2,000 years, these people have been profiteering off of our mother, and we've been allowing it to happen because they came in our house with guns. They came in our house with tactics and torture and experimentation and weapons of destruction. And so when they came in our house, we fell into submission because we wanted to continue living. Okay. And we know that about our mother as well, is that our life is about self-preservation. Our life is about continue life on earth. Like I said earlier, everything that our mother gave us was so that we could self-sustain and that we could continue to procreate and create, to enjoy the experience of humanity or the experience of being a creator on the planet. In a spiritual sense, we are the Sims. And we're supposed to be enjoying the game. We're supposed to be enjoying the process of creating things, making our world look the way we want it to look, like the Sims. We are the Sims. Our platform, our gaming system got hijacked, and now we are all working to create the experience of another person, of another entity. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out, but I want you guys to understand that the relationship between business and culture is very, very close, like the relationship between church and state. But I want you guys to understand that you are the church. There's no separation between you and how you govern yourself. We think that the state is here to govern, and we call some people are considered to be statists. A statist is a person that believes the state has all authority over them, that they don't have any ability to govern themselves. So they consider themselves to be statists. They don't question the state. Okay, they don't question the state of mind that they're in, because I'm going to tell you that's all a state is. A state is a state of mind. It's not a physical place the way we perceive it to be. It's not where you live. First of all, you live in a country. You don't live in a state. It's the state of Georgia. It's the state, excuse me, it is the country of Georgia, the country of Texas, the country of California. It's the country of Maryland and Minnesota and Nevada and Idaho and all that stuff. Those are countries. And you can laugh all you want to if you're giggling somewhere, but I'm gonna tell you that what's happening is that we're not looking around. When you look at Africa, is Ghana a state or is it a country? When you look at Europe, is France a state or is it a country? When you look at China, is Japan a state or is it a country? When you look at South America, is Brazil a state or is it a country? When you look at Canada, Quebec, is that a state or is it a country? Yeah? Come on, somebody. We're not putting these things together. There's no such thing as a freaking state. Where we live is a state of mind. That's it. There's no more differentiation to it than that. It's a state of mind. And because we can't get out of it, we think we're in it. We cannot get out of the state of mind that we're in. So we're in this state. And we'll continue to be in this state until we figure out that it's not a state. It's just a mental place that we live that does not exist. First of all, these are countries. I'm going to tell you again. You live in a country. America is not a country. America is not a continent. Well, I should say the United States. Let me correct myself because America is our continent. North and South America. Okay. We are the Americas. Are we the United States? No. Are we the United States of America? No. We are simply America. North America, South America. That's what we are. But because we are allowing these people to come and attach their corporate entity onto our nation, that's what we think it is. The United States of America is a corporate fiction. We can't keep misconstruing. We can't keep not recognizing that because the more you go and vote, the more you validate something that don't exist. It does not exist. I'm gonna close out because I'm almost at an hour and a half. I'm gonna follow up with this. I'm actually looking for somebody to help me do this podcast for the Spirit of Business because I really want to have more engaging conversations. I don't want to just be dumping off all of my inner observations and frustrations on y'all. I would prefer to deliver you guys some more engaging content where it's just more substance between myself and another thinker or another question, another inquisitive person. So if anybody hears this and they are interested in joining conversations like this one, please let me know if you would like to regularly appear on this podcast as a co-host. Eventually there will be some marketing involved in this and we'll be talking about it, the spirit of business. We're going to be talking about business. My training philosophy and my teaching philosophy has been developed over a couple of years now, talking about the personification of entities for the purpose of healing them and for the purpose of regulating them to align with the directional guidance or the frequency, the energetic frequencies that are pretty much going to determine their success or failure on this planet. Okay. And so these conversations are going to get scientific. Okay. Because there's a lot of science involved. So anybody that knows about metaphysics or anybody that knows about the occult world, they know anything about whatever, anything about this political space, trust law, common law. I study all kinds of laws. We got maritime law. I mean, there's it's endless. Okay, maritime admiralty law. I'm interested in having conversations around those things because this is a part of my life. It's a part of my study. It's a part of my practice. It's a part of everything I do, my business and all that, the way I teach my child. So, anyway, I want us to kind of start putting this energy out into the space, letting it be considered, letting it work, because the truth is about healing. It's about operative functionality. Okay, so we have to give it some merit. We have to really focus on how we're going to treat our mother from now on because she's been good to us. Our mother has been good to us. She has not allowed us to need or want for anything. Life on this planet has continued to go on, no matter how jacked up it may be from the infiltrators that have given us this negative experience. But she has continued to sustain all of us, nefarious or not. And now that she has become angry and enraged, it's our turn to sustain her. And we have to start giving back to her. And I'm going to close out with just this one thing that I love to talk about when it comes to a mother and child relationship. When a woman is with child, when she's pregnant, okay, if she experiences disease or injury of any kind while she is baking the baby, okay, gestation period, the baby can read the state of her health through the genetic transfer that they're going through. Okay. Yes, we can talk about that. Is it illegal to force the COVID shot? Yes, it is. And we will talk about that. We'll talk about that probably in the next couple of upcoming episodes because I'm now going to be recording for both podcasts. I'll be recording for Entertain the Thought and also for the Spirit of Business. So you guys are going to see me a lot more. And I want you guys to get used to me talking about business in this way because this is my mission on this planet. What I'm talking about, restoring the balance, restoring the health of our mother. So I'm going to, like I said, I want to close out with just what I was just saying. When a mother is in a certain state of health, the genetic transfer that's happening between her and her child, it conveys a message. Okay, it conveys information to that fetus or to that child. And so what the baby does, if it recognizes that in its development, it's starting to have its own. Oh no, you good, Miss Romaine. This baby is starting to have its own existence, its own health, its own substance. Okay. And it's not just coming from the mother, it's also coming from the father. So this baby using its whole being, which is slightly different than the mother at this point because it's using the father's genetic information and it's also using the mother's genetic information for it to build its existence or for it to, for the information to form inside of that child. Okay. And DNA is nothing but information. If a computer can read your DNA, trust me, you can read the information too. Okay. And when we're in our mother's womb, if we detect a disease or an injury, we give her some of our genetic material. The fetus will send its own stem cells, okay, to stop cancer, to stop organ failure, to correct anything. I mean, it could be a bad organ, it could be liver failure, whatever. The baby is going to contribute to the health of its host in its own best interest. Do you see how that works? The baby is feeding the mother health and life in abundance because it is living off of the mother. And the baby is consciously aware of that, which is the reason why the baby is going to help. And this is where I feel humanity is in a very special place right now because we need to be in that position. We are living off of the hosting of our mother. She is hosting us graciously as visitors, okay, in her house, on her person. We are in her presence and we are taking from her what we should be giving to her. Right now, the planet is hurting. She is dying. She is polluted. She has been raped. She has been beaten. Her natural resources have been, well, I don't want to say been depleted, but so many things that we've been doing have been negatively impacting her when we are supposed to be the ones feeding back to her what she's feeding us. Now, if I get pregnant, that's the reason why you see when my hair is about to grow. I mean, the baby gives so much because I believe the baby is grateful. The baby is conscious. The baby is grateful that you are like, oh, you giving me blood, you giving me water, you giving me nutrients, you giving me flesh, you giving me bones. Let me give you some of this stuff back because I'm grateful that you're even allowing me to be in here. You're even allowing me to breathe your air. You're even allowing me to walk on your surface. You're even allowing me to eat the food, the things that are edible here. You're only telling me that there are certain things that I should not do. There are only certain things that I should never violate. There are only certain things that I should never delve into. Okay? Why? Because if I'm affecting you that way, you're affecting me that way. And we don't want to introduce that energy into our relationship. This is a mother-child relationship that we have with this planet. Why would you break down the bonds that connect you and your mother? On purpose. We're doing these things on purpose. And how are we doing it? Through greed, consumerism, capitalism, political, failures, all these other things that we're doing. We're creating terrible relationship tears in the bond that's supposed to be keeping us in tune with our mother. We're doing these things for self-advancement. How is it self-advancement for you to fuck your mother over? That's exactly what we're doing. We're like, screw you, mom. You've never done anything for me. I don't like all this nature stuff you got going on. I'm going to use my own artificial stuff because I don't like your cooking. It is just like, what? You've been eating my cooking for 20 years and now all of a sudden you telling me that you about to go to McDonald's? What? But you better, what Jamie Foxx used to do? Jamie Foxx used to kill that jump, but I'm telling you, we got to get right. Okay, so I'm gonna close out. I've been on here too long. I love you guys. I hope that you will find Serve Boss. I'm gonna give y'all this real quick. Serve Boss is my Instagram for my professional brand that I'm launching to walk it like I talk it. Okay, I believe business should be around for the advancement of life on the planet. I don't think that there are any other priorities that are more pressing than that. So, my mission in business is to be for the advancement of the planet, not for gain or profit or for anything other than us getting into alignment. So, my corporate leaders, um, what I'm looking to do is make sure that corporate leaders understand where metaphysics meets business, where universal natural law, basically where the mother, okay, the mothers have set their rules. The mother has set a certain standard of what you must do as an entity. I don't care, like I said before, if you are artificial or not. And I'm going to tell you, if you are the leader of an artificial entity and you're listening to this, you need to understand that your leadership is going to be heavily predicated upon how you align yourself with universal natural law. If you're trying to go against the grain, trust and believe me, in any way, you are not going to succeed past the boundaries that have been set by this planet. The entity of this planet is conscious and she is aware of everything that you specifically are doing, especially if you're doing it on a massive level, especially if you're doing it on a massive scale. She's aware and she's looking at you. And I'm going to tell you, if you think you're going to ignore her, you got another thing coming. So my goal is to personify the business entity. Okay. Because the business is no different than a person anyway. That's the reason why, under the law, corporations are called persons. They are persons in every sense of the word. So, what we're going to do is give them the metaphysic personage that they're due in the mainstream. We're going to give them the metaphysic personage that they're due under commercialism and under trust law. We're going to give them the metaphysic personage that they should have, because they have been created on the operating system that says they are under the scrutiny, or subject to excuse me, universal natural law. Okay. So that you guys will be hearing more from me about this topic. You'll also be hearing from me tomorrow, actually, about some more things about relationships. We're going to continue talking about some of the things having to do with relationships in our communities, because that's another thing that closely relates to our social development, our the shaping of our culture has and also the shaping of our business environment has a lot to do with our relationships, not just romantic ones, but the way we're building connections between each other. Okay. If it's not healthy, the culture that we're creating will not be any more healthy than our relationships. The war that's going on between men and women, we got to get rid of that. We have to change the energy between us and our other opposite sex counterparts, because the damage that has been done between us is not irreversible. If you can understand a person's position, if you can empathize with their past, if you can understand their reasons, if you can be compassionate, put yourself in their shoes, you should be able to forgive. You should be able to understand. You should be able to move from the place that you are. If you're in a place of pain, a lot of women do not trust men. A lot of men do not like women. We got to fix that. Okay. So tomorrow, that's what we're going to be discussing. That's what we're going to be going over. And I do hope to see you guys. You're going to see a lot more of me because I have a lot to say. I always have, and I probably always will. And I want y'all to know something about me. My name is Sharice. And if you take the E off the last part, the last E off of my name, what you have left is the word shares. And actually, I have a friend that calls me Shares. He always say, "What's up, Shares?" Because I share a lot. I'd love to share the substance of my soul. And I do hope that when I'm giving you guys the matter of my mind, that somehow it's finding a place to live rent free in your head, okay? Because I'm giving you these things to increase your perspective and to get you to understand that there is another way to look at this reality that is more beneficial than where we're standing right now collectively. Okay, because I don't collectively stand in the same place. What I want to do is stand in my position way over here as an outlier. Okay, because my perspective is different. I'm going to share it with you so that maybe you can join me over here. Because where we at right now is some bullshit. And I don't want us to stay stepping in some shit because it stinks. Okay. So I will let you guys go for the 15th time. I'm going to let y'all go for real this time. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Peace, y'all.